Hello there, everybody. Welcome to another edition. That was buffering for some reason. I have no idea. So,
Hello?
are you there, Tracy?
Yeah, you there?
Yeah, I got knocked out of everything. So, welcome, Catherine, Val, Gene Hudson. How's everybody doing tonight, Lorna? Hopefully, everybody's having a great and lovely day. Rita, Penny Van, Crystal. It's the dolls. So I'm actually going back there this week, by the way.
Oh, yeah.
Same stores. Roger Blair, welcome, everybody. So, what we got going on tonight?
We have Jen Dorell. She is a historical interpreter and researcher, and she is a paranormal investigator and she has been experiencing stuff since the age of 3. We'll let her come on and tell us all about it.
All right, come on down, Jen. Welcome. How you doing?
Hello. How are you
Introduce
guys?
yourself and tell everybody all about you.
Okay. Well, as you've heard, my name is Jen Durrell, but it's actually Darrell, but it's okay. It's kind of a hard last name to pronounce. Um, anyways, I am historian, history buff, into the whole genealogy thing since I am a historical interpreter. I am also an investigator and experiencer. So all of that started when I was 3, but what got me into like the paranormal field, probably around early 2020, I started a podcast, but I was mostly just the co-host. So that was Talking Weird. Did that for about 3 years, and about last year was when I just decided to kind of go in a different direction. So now I'm just kind of doing everything on my own, and just
Awesome.
getting out there.
Yeah. So you say on here that your otherworldly experiences since age 3. Can you talk about that?
Well, yes. When I was 3, I did experience a shadow person. So when you're 3, you don't really know what to think of a shadow being in the hallway or something staring at you while you're trying to sleep. My childhood was filled with kind of running in my parents' room or my brother's room, seeking refuge from the strange, dark entity. It never really seemed to want to hurt me. It just would hover over me. So I'd never really experienced a lot of the stories like you hear, like with Hat Man or anything else like that. It was just always there, lurking and watching. So I had to deal with that majority of my childhood, and which eventually turned into sleep paralysis.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
So, for a lot of the people watching that may not understand what sleep paralysis is, what is that?
Well, there's a lot of different theories. But what I have figured out for me, just depending on exactly what is happening, um, I kind of think a lot of it has to do with when you're dreaming, and you're in the deep REM sleep, and when your body's waking up. Of course, your astral body is around, projecting, doing what it does. And then when it wants to get back into your body, it slams right back into your body. And that's when you experience the fright. Something's attacking you. Um, that is one theory. And I do kind of believe in that. I've had a lot of times where I'm just stuck in the in between, is what I call it, where you're completely still, you cannot move, but you can feel everything around you and what's going on, and you just can't move. It's just something you have to gradually relax your mind, or just to get out of it. Now there are the ones where it's more of a haunting, where they do attack you at night. It is always like a smaller black being. It's always a shadow person, and I've experienced those too. So I haven't really figured out why that happened, but I know I haven't experienced them, oh gosh, probably 10 years. What ended up happening, kind of alleviate that, was I stood up to it. I got tired of it because it was happening every single night. So I finally got the nerve, and one night I started beating it up, I guess. I don't know. I even felt myself roll off the bed and just started pounding it on the floor. Um, I was in a fit of rage. I was just done, and it was gone.
Hmm.
And I don't really.
Well, first of all, I'm sorry you experienced that. Uh, so, hey, Grizzly, you ever experienced anything like that, or what are your thoughts on that?
Number one
Yes.
and number two. I always have them right here. So, no, shadow people, yes, it's a very interesting topic. I believe they never were born or never earthbound. Whatever they are, they're not humans, is what I'm trying to say for everybody's listening. But people that encounter those usually also have psychic abilities. Do you have abilities?
Yeah. I just haven't fully tapped into them because I've always had that protective barrier, and I'm afraid to let it open, and then those things happen again. But I am working with some people that are trying to help me. But yeah.
How'd you start out with your ears, like you're going underwater or on an airplane?
Do you mean like when I would feel it, or?
Right, with your abilities.
Oh, well, I didn't really notice it until I thought they were dreams, to kind of find out they weren't. My earliest one was when I was 4. A woman came to visit me, didn't know her. Come to find out, she was my great grandma that died 2 years before I was born. But she showed up just to comfort me. And I remember that clear as day. I was scared of her at first. She comforted me. She was very sweet. I remember exactly how she left, just in a poof of, in the middle of the air, and you see this light. It was really very interesting. And I remember telling my mom about it. And I don't think she really took it in until after she lost her father, which was probably 5-6 years later. And she asked me about that experience again. And then she was ready to listen to it. And the more I described her, she started showing me pictures of her. And that's when we realized it was most likely her.
So who else in your family has abilities?
Nobody talks about it. I come from a Baptist family. No, we don't. That was really shunned upon. So it was really hard for me to even speak out when I would experience stuff like that. So if they
what kind of recourse did they give you when you did or tried to?
Well, they weren't mean about it, really. It's just they would just put the fear into me. If I didn't do things a certain way, I would go to hell. So that was enough to scare me.
And what about seeing spirit? How long have you been seeing spirit? How many years?
I would say since I was 3, because that was the very first one with the shadow person. I didn't feel like he was there to harm me. He was just watching. He didn't attack me or anything. But I was scared of him because, that's scary to anybody.
Right.
So I was standing there in the hallway.
So you can walk in a room, and if there's a spirit there, you'll notice it?
If I open myself up, sometimes I'll notice it anyways. There's usually a different feeling in a room when I know there is spirit there. I know when I'm not by myself. If it's more ominous, I'll really know because I'll get really sick. And they tend to kind of get a hold of the back of my neck, like try to attach.
Interesting. Is there a spirit with you right now?
Always.
Okay, because I can sense it, and I don't know who it is. So
it's always with me.
Who is it?
I think it could be a family member, but I'm not sure.
Interesting.
I'm always using different devices, and I'm pretty poor, single mom, so I use the phone apps, and I know how a lot of people think about the phone apps, but
the Spirit Talker is legit. We know the people.
I've used that one.
Mm-hmm. As long as you got in airplane mode, it's actually legit.
And I always use one in airplane mode. I've been kind of stuck on GhostTube, but I do use Spirit Talker. GhostTube works very well at a certain location that I'm at a lot. and it all matches up historically. I have EVPs where they're talking about me and they're concerned about me. They say my name and I can't figure out what they're saying. They're like, "Oh, it's Jen." And I'm like, did they just say my name? Like, it's mind-boggling. Of course, I'm thinking in my head, this is what's going on. This is what I believe. But then when you hear it, it's validated. It's like, what? It's still crazy to me when I actually experience it that way, get that validation.
When you put stuff down, items,
Mhm.
you go back and it's gone.
Yeah.
Moved.
Yeah.
Because you
Mhm.
got a trickster. I don't know who this trickster
Oh
is.
yeah. Oh yeah.
So, do you have
I'll
a
agree with you on
trickster
that
that
one.
passed? That was a family member,
I wouldn't say a family member, none that I know of.
close relative, friend of a family. I'm trying to figure out who this is.
I don't know. I don't know because I've always thought I had a trickster too, but I also have elemental-ish type things that are attracted to me.
I wasn't going to say it. You did.
Mhm.
What about sounds?
Mine really started off with auditory. I could hear people talking. When I was 6, which took me forever to admit this, I had a conversation. What would you say? Your light being on the left side and the dark being on the right. So the time I'm thinking it's Jesus and then it's the devil and they're, and I was trying to go to sleep and the other one was trying to get me to do really bad things. And there was no way a 6-year-old would think of it. And it was really upsetting me. So they were trying to comfort me and told me, and to the point where I had to sit back and just listen to these two fight. Not like physical fight, but leave her alone. But I was bait, and it liked me. So it was the weirdest thing to sit back and listen to that
Do you feel moving on your bed?
all the time. Mm-hmm. All the time.
This person does not want to be known. I don't understand it.
Mm-mm. I have
Tracy's like, what are you doing, Grizzly? She's easy to read. I just picked up on her energy when she first signed on, and I was like, it's gonna be an interesting show. I was trying to do my paperwork and answer everybody's messages.
Yeah.
So, you ever played with the Ouija board?
Never. That scared the crap out of me because that's what I was told. You don't mess with Ouija boards. But yet, I'm communicating with phone apps, and some people like to compare it the same way. But Ouija boards, I've never touched.
Have you ever wanted to?
Well, of course you're curious, but I don't think I'd ever do it just because that it's scary. Unless I was with somebody that I don't know. It would take a lot. It would be somebody I would trust that knew it, or I thought, I don't know.
You ever use dowsing rods or pendulums?
Yes.
Yes to both, or yes to
Yeah,
one?
yeah. I do have dowsing rods and a pendulum. I don't use them very often.
Why is that?
was just trying to mess with them and seeing if they worked, and they really do work.
Then when you first use yours, did the right one just constantly spin?
I don't think so.
What happened when you first held them?
I was at a paranormal investigation, and they handed us these dowsing rods, and I'm like, okay. And mine just automatically just went out. I just wanted to stay. So in my head, I was doing what they said that we were supposed to do: talk to spirit and get them to make them go straight. And it worked. And then they would just start doing it. I never had one go wonky or anything.
The first time I held mine looked like a helicopter.
Oh, really?
I got a hold of one of my psychics that are on my shows. We do true crimes, unsolved murders. And I'm like, what the hell's going on? Look at this. They're like, well, spirit's happy you finally got them.
Yeah.
And it was just like,
yeah.
So it took a while for it to calm down. So, smells. Talk about smells.
Those are recent. So I have taken a course trying to help me let go of some things. And once I started doing that, I've been able to catch smells. And mostly it's at any location that is haunted. I don't really get them at home that much. That is just every once in a while. So I do get them at locations.
So first off, you're not crazy. Secondly, trust your instincts.
Yeah, I know.
Third, embrace it because you're not going to stop it.
Right.
So the more you push, the weirder stuff's going to happen around you. And you're going to have to ride the horse sooner or later. I know it's scary because
Yeah.
there's nobody there to walk you through everything because everybody's different.
Yeah.
But I'm hearing laughter. Why am I hearing laughter?
Is it I don't know.
Did something
Is it
recently
evil
just
laugh
happen?
or just a funny laugh?
No, just funny laugh. Did something recently just happen?
I don't think so.
No movement, no smells like the past couple of days?
Well, I haven't been using my devices. Yesterday I did. So I actually uploaded that one, and it's kind of interesting. So I do have my own little TikTok channel, and I do show what I get on GhostTube, and I get a lot of the haters that say, "Oh, well, it doesn't work for me. You know, you're making it do that," and I'm like, I am not making this thing do anything. It just works. And so as soon as I turned it on, I said, "Let's see if anybody's here." You know, because I was waiting to get ready to do something, and automatically they just started talking. And
female or older male?
huh?
Younger female or older male?
Both.
Which one's more powerful? More
I don't
dominant?
know. To me, I've always had the number 4 in my head, so I have 4.
Interesting.
So I do have to tell you a very interesting story. So when I started getting the sleep paralysis, I was about 13 or 14. So that is around the time I stopped bugging my parents and trying to sleep in their bed or at least on their floor. I made myself try to face my fears. That's when my sleep paralysis got worse. And that's when I started experiencing them coming into my room at night. So I'm completely asleep, but yet I can see everything around me. And I saw 4 light beings come into my room. I saw them walk over to the other side of my bed, and they stood there for like the longest time. And I was trying to figure out how to wake up, and I couldn't get up. And I started to hyperventilate. And one of them came right over me, right above my face, because I could feel it. And it told me to calm down and that everything was okay. They weren't there to hurt me. And I automatically just freaked out. And all of a sudden, I astral project. I went straight up to the ceiling and I looked down. And it was the weirdest thing. I could see myself. I saw it over me. And I saw 3 on the other side. But they were beams of light. So I couldn't really make them out. And once they realized I wasn't there in my body anymore, they just left. And then I was able to return to my body. And that is something that I learned early on to do when I was afraid, was just to leave.
Do you pray?
Not anymore.
You need to.
No. I used to as a kid, but it didn't help. So I pray in my own way, I should say. I don't pray like I was taught to as a child at church, you know, on the side of the bed and, you know, all of that. I mean, I say it in my head, of course, that type of prayer, my own personal prayer, that I do.
Talk to me about being touched. Or do you want to skip it?
Well, I mean, I've been touched before, but nothing too, not when I'm awake, not too much. I mean, like in haunted locations, you know, I get poked or touched or pulled on or something like that, but nothing horrible.
What goes through your mind when that happens?
I automatically want to talk to it and know what it is, what it wants.
And what kind of response do you get?
They usually go away. Like they seem shocked that I want to talk to it. They're not used to that.
Well, I know you got a trickster. Or you got something else that I see a male and a female. I don't know who these are. I'm not good with, family members. Some people say they see this picture and it tells it's an aunt, a mother, grandmother,
Mm-hmm.
however. But anyways, I've got some people I'll send you to hook up with. Very interesting. They meet, I think, every other Monday, and
Oh
they're
yeah.
very interesting, and they'll love to talk to you.
Oh,
So,
cool. Yeah.
you all right,
That'd be
Tracy?
great.
Yeah, no, that was pretty cool, Grizz. I've never seen you do that before. So
Oh no, I stopped because there's some things I know she doesn't want to talk about, which is understandable.
yeah,
But you're just very easy to pick up on and read. So
I can tell you, I have absolutely no extra say in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
So, in a way, after hearing, after talking to people and with this show and people we've met, I'm glad to an extent that I don't. But then
Yeah.
again, I'm jealous to an extent in the same way, right? Because we only live so long, and it'd be nice to feel what some other people feel when it comes to those things.
Yeah.
But it is what it is.
well, I do have one last question though. Does your child see things or hear things?
Yep. Mm-hmm.
So you know
My
where it came from then.
my son did it first. He's older now, but my daughter still sees them. They follow me from investigations. She actually sees the apparitions. I don't. I,
Tell God it's
I've
okay.
totally blocked myself off.
Yeah, just let God know, just like I did. Hey, whatever you want me to do, send it my way, and we'll roll with it the best we can.
Yeah.
Because they are trying to communicate,
Mm-hmm.
whoever they are, and but the light beings just throw me for a loop. So it's
Yeah.
interesting.
Yeah. I've told that to other people before, and a lot of them think that it is more ET ish.
I didn't say it.
Yeah. A lot of people say that.
Any strange markings or things on your bodies?
No,
Body?
no, not really. Nothing.
Not really. It's yes or no.
I've got a bunch of moles. That's about it.
Well, a lot of people have those, so.
But none of like strange, like you see on the TVs where they, they've got a weird triangle back here, or they've got, I haven't noticed anything. No one else has told me I've had anything odd. So,
Have you ever looked though?
yeah. Mm-hmm.
Interesting. Do you ever take an EMF detector to your body?
Yes. And it does go off sometimes. Yeah. Quite often.
That does not make any sense, does it?
Mm-mm. Mm-mm.
Yeah, because I see you doing it. And you're like,
Yeah.
So, all right, Tracy, take over. I'll stop.
Oh, hey man, that was great. I'm glad you did it. So like you talked about up until about 10 years ago, you said the shadow figure, the people that were with you, you felt had won away. So was that about the time you decided to start getting into investigating, or were you investigating even before that, or what did you consider the start of your investigating?
Well, I didn't really start dabbling with it until, of course, you've got all the ghost hunter shows that came out. Because then I'm like, oh, cool. There's people like me. Like, that's what really got it going. So I was married for about 10 years, and it was very active when I was married, and it had to do with the location. And I was always kind of curious about it. So I did try a little bit there, but I know it made my ex a little uncomfortable. It was automatically active when my son was born. So that was something he couldn't even ignore because he was experiencing it all the time. My brother passed away a couple of years later after my brother was born, or my son was born, and it got very active. My brother was with me all the time, a lot. So we would be woken up in the middle of the night, and it wasn't just that. I kept seeing a little girl, and I would hear her and her mother talking. One time I was on the computer, and I'm just, flipping through Facebook, and it's quiet in the house, and I actually envisioned them right next to me. And the little girl looked at her mom and said, "What is she doing?" Her mom was like, "I don't know." And I heard it clear as daylight there right next to me. And I envisioned it in a third eye. I could see it all. They were in period clothing, 1800s type clothing. So I am doing research on that right now. At the time, I didn't have the resources. I didn't know how to do the research, but now I do. So I'm trying to figure out who used to live there, because I do know there was a family that lived right there where our house was.
So it would have been an old Victorian house, most likely. Okay.
Yeah, it's farmland, so an old farmhouse. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
Oh, so when you started investigating, though, I mean, what's like the first thing you did as far as, you watched the show, stuff like that? Did you run out and buy equipment, or did you just entrust your instincts at the beginning? And like you said, you use just kind of the apps that you have, which is awesome. I use apps kind of the same way. But was there anything that you thought, hey, I need to go get this piece of equipment, and you started using it and realizing, hey, this is pretty good?
Well, the first thing I got was an EMF detector. And so I would use that. But that was the first piece of equipment that I had. I always had a video camera. The first place I went to a legit kind of investigation, of course, you had to pay and go to it, and that was Belvoir Winery. So that was my very first one to go to. And I didn't want to be with all the people because I couldn't hear anything, because it was like 65 people when they would separate us in these different groups, take us to different rooms or different buildings. And it was always too much. So I separated myself in this one building that I just felt like there was more there, like children. And when we separated, that's when they started pulling at my coat. So then they kind of let me know they were there.
Interesting. So, you said you're from the middle part of Missouri. I ain't gonna name the town.
Yes.
What areas around you do you find to be the most active that you've gone to actually do some investigations?
Well, any of the ones that just have most of the historical imprints, people that lived there for a long time. And Missouri's just got a lot of tainted history with the Civil War. It don't matter where you go, you're going to find something. And it's a cave state. Yep. So, genealogical, I mean, it's just perfect for activity. One of the places that I frequent a lot is made out of limestone and has a cave underneath it. So, and running water. So it's got all of the perfect mix of having really good paranormal activity. So it is active in that sense there.
Yeah.
And
so Grizzly, you ever hunt in any of those caves or anything like that? Not necessarily in Missouri, but I know you do the land between the lakes with the Bigfoot and stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Paranormal. Yeah. So we got Mammoth Cave here in Kentucky. So I got a question. I hate to even ask, but you got into the genealogy side to validate yourself.
Yes. Yep.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm stuck. Seeing that over and over.
Yeah. I've done it with my family, and I stay up till 3 o'clock in the morning because I keep finding more and more stuff. So I'm just obsessed. It's pretty bad.
How old was your brother when he passed?
How old was what?
Your brother?
He was 39. He was going to be 40 that year.
And he wasn't funny at all?
Yeah, he was funny.
That's your trickster. That's who it is.
Yeah.
I just got confirmation. Do you talk to him?
Yeah, not as much as I used to, because he's not as around as much, or doesn't present himself as much. I know when he's around every time I see my nephew, though, because he's always with him.
Now, do you see apparitions or you see vibrations of light?
Yeah, I don't really, apparitions to me, I've never seen like a full figured one. I'll see just random hands showing up. It's the weirdest thing. An arm, like what? It's never a full, just parts of bodies. It's weird how they just manifest themselves. I've seen that. Most of the time it's light, or it's always movement. And as soon as I look, it's just not there. But I can always see it moving around.
Okay.
Interesting.
Tracy's like, what?
Hey.
What is
Tracy's
going
never seen
on?
this side. Yeah, Tracy's never seen me do this before.
But when you said brother, and or you ever talked to him, and she's like, yes, then that's kind of like, whoa, yeah, no,
I just got confirmation that's who it was. That's why I was asking. So
that's
yeah.
that's pretty cool.
I've recently, which it's a tender subject for my family, but my family never looks at this stuff anyways. I had a cousin that recently passed, like very recent,
I'm sorry.
and um, I feel like in a way he's been trying to contact me because on the ghost tube it's always telling me cousin, and it says his name, and just a couple other things pop up too. So he's a trickster too. So
Yeah, this one's your brother though.
So was your cousin aware that you do, like you're into this stuff, into the paranormal?
yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, it's all over my Facebook, so they've known.
Interesting.
Yeah. So you're talking about your EMF, and we're talking about caves, which is cool. Every time I go down to Nashville, you see the caves on the way down there.
Oh yeah.
The Blair. Oh, it's not the Blair Witch. Gosh darn it! What's the name of that cave? Grizz.
Bell Witch.
Bell Witch.
Oh,
Yes.
witch. Oh yeah. Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I always think that'd be pretty cool to go down and investigate that. Have Since you kind of feel this stuff and you've been around this stuff, has anything ever happened to you at any of your investigations or in your personal life that has just kind of like, I get the sleep paralysis, that would scare the hell out of me, but
Yeah.
anything outside of that ever come to you and you're like, there's something really really bad here, I gotta leave, or anything like that? Anything ever happened to you like?
Well, I mean, again, I trust my intuition, but at the same time, I always see the good in people. And when they tell me it's not going to work, I'm like, I'll try it, And so that usually is what happens. But I'll get several signs. I'll know in dreams. They'll let me know, especially if I don't ever dream about that person. That's automatic that's not. If I don't get any deja vu with them, I get deja vu all the time. And if you're not in my deja vus, it's automatic that I need to move on. So that was something that was happening in a recent relationship. So
yeah. Huh.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's actually that's to me that's so deja vu. If they're not basically, if you're not on your mind, is what you just kind of what you said. You kind of just move on to. I guess I try to explain that if you don't mind. I got confused on that.
Yeah, well, it's hard for me to explain it because it's something I've experienced, and so every time when I was a kid, I thought, oh, that's just so cool. But the older I've gotten, I've tried to learn from it, learn a lesson from it. So from what I've learned is that if there's someone that's in my life, I always have a deja vu with them, and it's always exciting. But if someone's in my life and I don't have the deja vu, it's always a red flag. And plus, if I'm constantly being told, intuitionally that this isn't going to work, you need to go elsewhere, then I'll eventually do it, but it's reluctantly because I'm always hoping that person's going to change or, something like that. So.
Can you dive in a little bit on your historical interpreter stuff? I mean, explain what that is.
Just basically a tour guide. So I do work at a historical site in Missouri, and I love it. Now, I worked there for a summer when I was about 20, 21 years old, and I just fell in love with the place, fell in love with the history, and it wasn't until, 2021, I just was in a rut, and I thought, what made me happy? And so I realized, I like that place. So I contacted them, and they had me come in for an interview, and that was it. They hired me. And so I'm really deeply connected, and it's not just the location. I'm connected to the spirits because they're still there. And it's not in a sense of a haunt, because that's what everybody asks. It's the number one question. It's not haunted. They live there, just in a different dimension. They are not gone. They're not haunting it.
What do you think about that, Chris? The different dimension thing.
I believe in it.
I know it's a hard reach. I know it's hard for me
no,
too. But
it's what I'm
more...
picking up from you. You had a rough life, and you're not the only one that's been through that because of your abilities, and it's really terrible. Because I'm actually writing a book on it. It's supposed to come out next month. About all the stuff that people gone through growing up, relationship wise, marriages.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm not going to go into it on the show because it's somewhat personal, but you got to let go of it.
Yeah,
that's what I'm talking about. So
yeah,
but interdimensionals, other dimensionals, yeah, we live in the 3D world.
mm-hmm.
I think there's 12 or 13 dimensions that science has actually probably proven. We all vibrate on a different vibrational plane and level. So yes, I do believe that. So don't beat your woosah. Rub your earlobe. Woosah. Remember that, Martin Lawrence?
Oh yeah.
There you go. Relax. So
when I brought up Land Between the Lakes, you kind of got excited about that. Are you do you like to go down there? Are you into the cryptids world at all, or do you just go down there for caves and hunting, or what?
I'm interested in it. I just haven't done it. Since I was on the podcast, we always talked to a lot of people that investigated that. And one of the people that really got me into it was Johnny Henderson and Elijah. And I love their stories. And I know that is kind of like their heart and soul is that area. So they've really intrigued me to kind of want to go that direction, but I wouldn't want to go by myself. That's for sure. But no, I'm very intrigued by it.
What are your thoughts on cryptids? Just out of curiosity.
I can't really say that I've really experienced them or seen them. I'd say I felt them. I mean, I've seen my little, I don't even know how to explain it. They're like little people, but not, I don't know what the correct term is for them. The Fae. I've seen.
Well, they call them that, yeah.
Yeah, I've seen those. But what's weird is that it doesn't make sense to me because of the stories that I've heard and how they protect a certain area of the woods and how if you mess with it, then you probably got bad luck and stuff like that. But I've had one show up at my house and it didn't make any sense why it would do that. Could have been something else. Who knows? But that stuff I'm very intrigued with. So definitely would love to go on a Bigfoot hunt or dog man, anything like that.
You can have your dog man.
I
said you can have the dog man.
Supposedly there's some in Missouri.
That's what
Heard that recently.
So then talk about cryptids. We always dive into UFOs. What have you experienced anything with that? I know we talked earlier about the dimensions. We talked about the shadow or the lights and the shadows possibly being something from out of this world. What are your thoughts on the actual UFO sightings and stuff like that?
Well, I've had my own, and I've had my own experience with spook lights. When I lived out on the farm, when I was married, I was experiencing everything, anything paranormal, supernatural. I was by myself a lot, and so this was 800 acres by myself. And I would hear a lot, hovering a lot, lived near an Air Force base. So I always figured it was Air Force. But it was always in the middle of the night and it would just kind of hover over the house, but it was a nice light hum. Lights everywhere, amber lights. There was one time I thought my husband had come home. He hadn't. So these amber lights actually came into the house and then went around. And I thought, well, that must be headlights. And it wasn't. There was nothing that came in. And then another time, I just happened to look out the door, which faces the driveway. And I saw these lights heading south, which is normal for the car. but then it started facing east towards where I was at. And so they were together, but they weren't really all that even. So I thought, oh, somebody's got flashlights. The cows must be out. You know, they're searching for the cows or something. And then from that, they kind of wavered away. And then instead of going towards me, they decided to face me, but then go south. And that really perplexed me. It got really, really close to the house. So I've seen that. I've seen lights above the tree lines, dancing lights. And my ex actually experienced that too. So it wasn't just me, thank God. I had somebody else experience it. So, yep. Had that
So
too.
your thoughts are you've experienced, and it's real grisly. What are your thoughts on her experiences there? I mean, we always talk with people that
They're real.
Yeah.
And she's had some problems coping with it in the beginning, and still second guesses herself.
Yes, I did.
Why me?
All
Why
the
me?
time.
I know. So I sent Tracy a name. Tracy will forward that name. I already contacted her, and she's
Okay.
waiting for you after the show. So,
Okay.
Oh, okay.
yep, that's
No,
what I
thank
was
you,
doing.
Chris.
Nice. Thank you.
So,
So we talked a little bit about your communication. I'd like to dive in a little bit more on your telepathic communication. What all have you experienced in that realm? If you could dive into a little further.
That one is really hard to explain. I don't know. It just happens. Sometimes if I focus hard enough, I can automatically sense usually how somebody is or feels about me sometimes. Again, I'll second guess myself. So I that's why I have a hard time with, there's different people that are really good.
It's mean. And when you first got on, I was like, how dare she? She don't even know me. She's talking like that. I'm like, come on now, girl. I was trying to do 20 things at once. I wasn't ignoring you. I'm always behind. I got people, ladies and gentlemen, I'll get to you after the show. Just give me a second.
Yeah.
And people is blowing me up right now. I'm like, I'm alive.
Yeah.
And I wasn't giving Jen enough attention, and she kind of got like, but that's all right. I didn't want to call her out, but
No. Yeah.
I just want to let you know I do think a lot of you, and I'm going to send you in the right direction. So Tracy's like, what the hell? Tracy, you want to know what I pick up on you sometimes. It's like, damn, dude, you need some of my holy water and ointment oil sometimes. That's all right.
Hey, ain't going to deny it, man. Ain't going to deny it. I'm sure.
You don't have to. I know. So,
yeah.
But no, you're all right, Jen. We're gonna give you some outlets and stuff, and but I'm just always so busy, and when we do shows, right? I don't know how many shows I do a week, 11, 13.
Oh my goodness.
I don't remember, but Tracy, I let people do their own shows. I don't put my hand in it. Wherever they want to do, I'll roll with it.
Yeah.
And you're okay. you crack me up. They want to know, we'll switch it. Has Jen ever witnessed any orbs? And what do you think an orb is?
Well, with the spook light that I saw, it was kind of like an orb. I would say it was just more of an amber ball of light that was floating. Now I haven't really experienced, I've seen flashes of light, I guess. But I will have to kind of revert back to my brother after he passed away. My mother, who doesn't really, this kind of talk really unnerves her. She was sitting in her chair reading. That's what she does every night. It was after we had his funeral. And my nephew was there too, which he has blocked this out already. But she remembers it. And they saw an orb in the house, and it was blue. And it was walking straight towards them. And I went past them, and then I went back out that way, out the other way. And she automatically thought it was Chris. So I just told her, that, it was him, and she was lucky she got to experience that.
Right.
Yeah. So I believe in it, especially since my mother said she saw it, because she's not going to lie about stuff like that.
No, absolutely not.
Yeah.
Tracy's over there. He's like, what the?
He's like, what?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Tracy's lost right now. He's just like flabbergasted.
I think it's awesome. No, that definitely awesome. I'm kind of glad I don't have the telepathic communication stuff too, because I'd hate to be able to tell what other people might be thinking about me.
Oh, it's very interesting, and I didn't mean to call her out, but I almost did right before the show started. I was trying to get my commercials going and everything else. I was behind. And I'll say this, Tracy, no matter before we do shows in the beginning, you use the mute button. I can still hear what your wife tells you.
Yeah.
Yeah, I believe it.
So sometimes I like, damn, poor Tracy.
Yeah. So I enjoyed this interview. This is awesome. Especially with Chris and you guys kind of getting along like that in your heads and talking.
Yeah.
That's pretty cool. To me, it's almost like, it's one of the better interviews we've done, because it's actually gotten more personal and into the world, but not too personal, but personal,
right.
In that aspect.
Oh, she got nervous a few times. I'll tell you that much. She's like, oh. And I understand. I was the same way. I'm not going to lie. I'm still dealing with it. But I've got people that I associate myself with that when I know or they know I'm in pain because I got hurt 2019, they'll call me up and be like, you're in a lot of pain. I'm like, damn it. Or I'll get mad because I forgot to do a promo or something. They're like, just take a breath. It's going to be okay.
Right.
I'm like, I hate when y'all call me up and do that. Stop it.
Yeah.
So, but you surround yourself with people like that. They help you and show you the ropes and it's fascinating people, and Angela's waiting for you. So Tracy's got the information for you and he'll forward it. And if you want, Tracy, you can send her my information too. And if you want to reach out, you can. So it's no big deal. But you are with a lot of like-minded people in this phenomenon and realm. So I can assure you of that.
Which is good. It feels much better.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
Do you have any future? What do you foresee in your future, like in the paranormal stuff? Just kind of going the route you're going. Like you said, you're getting it. You do the genealogy. You're checking in all that, and pulling more things up. Are you going to team up with anybody you think in the future to start doing investigations? I know you said your kids go with you, but anybody outside of family you're going to go with, anything like that, you think? Well,
my kids don't really go with me. My daughter is interested, but she's still got too much fear in her. So they tend to follow me, and that's how she experiences them. But I have done a couple investigations with Beyond Life Paranormal, which is out of, I think it's based out of Breckenridge, Missouri. So it's Russell Reynolds. So I've done a couple of things with him. But other than that, I just kind of go on my own and just kind of, figure it out on my own. And since I do frequent a lot of historical places, I'm able to get more information that way too, which is more validating. I mean, that's the main reason why people are into the paranormal, is just trying to figure out what happens after we leave our bodies. So,
yeah, but you're going to make mistakes. You're never going to be right 100% of the time. And you got to let go of that fear. So,
yeah. So, but it's still nice to, get that validation, even though you might be thinking it and then they let you know.
Well, I can tell you this much. I'm not having dinner at your house.
Yeah.
I don't want to be sitting there eating spaghetti and somebody touching me on the shoulder or rubbing my beard or something. I can see that happen, especially if somebody does not approve. So, yeah. Ashley wants to know, Jen, have you ever channeled a spirit?
I don't think so. If I have, I didn't know it.
But you tried?
No, I haven't really tried to do it.
Yeah, you do it all the time when you use your spirit box.
I guess so. That is a way of doing it. But I mean, they haven't like taken over my body or anything. That's what I'm thinking of.
Oh no, you're talking
No.
TV stuff. No, but
Yeah, no, I haven't done
don't get
that.
upset when it doesn't happen because I know I see you going, oh come on, in
Oh,
your mind,
yeah,
like,
there has been sometimes I'm like,
mhm.
it's really quiet. Why are we quiet today? Because I'm not used to that.
Right, yeah. So don't Irene. She has abilities too, and I'm not going to Irene's house. She'll hit me in the head with fortune cookies.
Ah.
She's in Japan, and she's just like, what did Grizzly say? And there's some people in the audience. I can click on their name and I can hear songs, like your song. All right, ladies and gentlemen, you ready for her song? She's like, song. So when you first came on, when I looked at you funny, I heard, and I will always love you.
Oh, no.
So whatever that song means to you, I have no idea. But there's some significance, and I can't even say a word with my red hot candy. Look, see Irene saying, dang you in trouble, Grizzly. Just don't hit me with the chopsticks. We're actually broadcasting live in Japan on her channel right now. So interesting, yeah.
Wow.
But Cal's like, wow. You never know what's going to come out of my mouth. I'm sorry. But so talk to me about this song because I got to know now.
I don't know. I sing karaoke, so that's kind of like my handle. I'm Karaoke Ghost Hunter. Just all my social media. I have, but it's not like one of my top ones. But I have tried to
but
sing
you
it.
get into it
Sometimes. It's been a long time since I sang that song, but yeah.
But you know the words to the song, though, right?
Pretty much, yeah.
So what does that significance in your life regarding that song mean? Because there's a tie, there's a significance to that song. So there's been times where I'm like, I shouldn't even tell this person the song I'm getting because it's like, dude, you need a priest.
Yeah.
And I had one guy denied it on one of my shows, and I'm like, dude, you call me a liar? I'm like, how dare you come on my show and call me a liar, man? Guess what? People in the audience is like, it's okay.
You can get upset, honey. You know, just accept it and embrace it.
Yeah.
And 4 days later, I got a message, and he's like, we need to talk. And I'm like, what? He's like, dude, I was in a really bad mood that day. I just didn't want to tell anybody. I was like, dude, he's worse than the bad mood. I was like, my God.
Yeah.
I mean, this is like the hell's bells and screaming stuff. But anyways, so somebody else I clicked on earlier, it was funny. It was apple bottom jeans with the boots with the fur.
What is that again?
Apple bottom jean song with the boots with the fur. I ain't gonna say who that song came up on in the chat room.
Oh.
Look, Irene's really ticked off. She's typing in Japanese now. So I love you too, darling. So, but no, so there's a tie to that song. So I don't know what it is. That's why I was just asking.
That's cool.
Yeah.
Only one song for me right now, Grizz, right there, buddy. TTYL.
Now yours has always been The Wheel in the Sky.
The Wheel in the Wheel in the
Journey.
Sky. Mm-hmm. Keep on turning.
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
a good one.
Like that song.
That's always been your songs never changed. So. Yeah. So somebody, is it Kyle Smith? Is that your apple bottle jean song? Is that who I'm talking about? Anyways, Kyle Smith's like, what the hell, Grizzly? So, and you know, you can't turn it off. And I know you tried, but it's still going to come.
Yeah. Yeah. So. It's been subdued for a long time. It's just, I can't anymore. So kind of have to.
Ashley, I wasn't going to call you out, honey. Sorry, but
no, but
she did herself.
Like I'm an open book. I don't care. It's like I hid it for so long when I was a kid that now I'm just free flow. I don't care. I talk about it all the time.
Well, somebody in one of our chats is like, he's got another browser open and he's playing music because I would just start singing songs when I click on people's names. I'm like, no, look,
yeah,
and I pull my headphones off.
Good.
And there ain't no music coming through. And they're like, I'm like, yeah, it's real.
Yeah.
So anyways, Ashley's laughing. Tracy's freaking out. He's going to have a talk with his wife later. I'm like, you better behave. Anyway. But it being in law enforcement, right? With all the training I had, you lose a lot of friendships.
Mm-hmm.
I lost a marriage over mine with the abilities and stuff that I
Mm-hmm.
was taught.
Yeah.
And it's hard to go in a room and somebody you be talking to, you'd be like, shut the front door.
Yeah.
Get out of here.
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it's just awful. So
yeah.
Ashley said she called herself out. You did. I wasn't going to name your name, hon. I just know who it was. So everybody's laughing at her now. But it's interesting. So look, she's comfortable now for a change.
There you go. What do you think, Grizz?
Yeah, absolutely. We'll get her fixed up, hopped up, and fixed up with a couple of people. And yeah, I'll get her with some people that will grow her and everything. It's been a great interview. So yeah, I can't complain. Now, how does people get a hold of you if they want to follow you and so forth?
Well, I've got a TikTok, and that's Karaoke Ghost Hunter, and I think on Instagram it's the same, and it's actually my name on Facebook, so Jennifer Darrell. So pretty easy to find.
Interesting. Everybody's saying awesome, great.
Yeah, good interview.
Yeah. So
thank you for having me on.
Yeah, absolutely. And don't forget, ladies and gentlemen, we got another show coming up at 9:00 tonight. And let's see here if I can do this right. And from coast to coast around the world, ladies and gentlemen, we'll talk to you on the next show. Take care. Bye-bye.